Y'all made it? Are y'all ready to hear from a few more speakers?
Sí.
Who will help us know more about how we can be involved in this work post May Day?
Yeah.
Because marching isn't enough, y'all. We got to do the work, right?
Woo.
Yes, all right. Our first speaker is Barakat from CIRC, the Coalition of Immigrants, Refugees, and Communities of Color. CIRC is shout it out for CIRC.
Woo. Woo.
CIRC is an alliance of multicultural organizations and individuals with a mission to build informed, engaged, and equitable communities through advocacy, engagement, and education in communities of color.
El primer presentador de hoy en esta etapa del programa va a ser Barakat Quiros, de la Coalición de Migrantes y Refugiados y Comunidades de Color, una alianza multicultural de organizaciones e individuos con la misión de construir una equidad en comunidad que está informada y activa para ayudar a las comunidades de colores. Esta coalición incluye representantes de Eritrean Association de Greater Seattle, Ethiopian Community of Seattle, la comunidad etiopía, y Multimedia Resource Training Institute, el Instituto de Recursos de Entrenamiento Multimedia, y otros individuos y otros capítulos en Seattle. Un aplauso para Barakat Quiros.
The CIRC Coalition includes representatives from the Eritrean Association in Greater Seattle, Ethiopian Community of Seattle, Multimedia Resource Training Institute, Washington African American Media Association, Tigray Community Association of Seattle, the Union of Tigrayn Women, North America Seattle chapter, and individuals from communities of color. Justice for Tigray, y'all!
Justice for Tigray!
Thank you. Thank you.
A fearless civil rights leader.
You're in here.
Que se escuche para las personas de Tigray.
Thank you all committee for organizing such a beautiful rally year after year. You became a voice of the voiceless people, and I appreciate that, and we appreciate all.
Gracias por organizarse todos los años y venir aquí a luchar por toda la gente. Son la voz de nuestro pueblo y me siento muy honrado de estar aquí con ustedes el día de hoy.
May Day has long a traditional holiday for festivality associated with the arrival of spring. But from 1890, May Day became the International Labor Movement special day. In the United States, the way to do so is observance to be an American subversive and instead, albeit reluctantly often supported Labor Day, an acceptable homegrown alternative.
Desde 1890, mayo primero ha sido el Día Internacional del Trabajo, donde se le reconoce el arduo esfuerzo a todos los trabajadores.
The international significance of May Day as a public holiday is synonymous with the trade union movement. This was the day adopted by the labor movement in the 1880s to show their solidarity with the unions who had lost their lives in pursuit of legitimate ideas in Chicago. May Day was certainly the appropriate occasion for the demonstration and clearly has not lost its significance as International Labor Day.
Mayo primero ha sido un día donde todos nos reunimos y crea un movimiento para apoyar también a las uniones de los trabajadores en todos los rubros donde ellos están. Ha sido un día para mostrar nuestra solidaridad unos a otros y tomar el coraje de representar a nuestros trabajadores migrantes.
Demonstrating outside does not amount to much, but it takes a real courage to speak your mind in a non-union company. Each person who speaks out is not only acting as a brave individual, she or he is giving a voice to many people who think the same way. All organizers started with a small group that expands to encompass the majority. That's what scares Amazon. There has been 57 increase in the number of workers and labor group demanding to be recognized as a union demanding better wage, benefit time for safety and protection.
Toma mucho coraje y mucho valor el venir a demostrar tu apoyo para cada persona y el estar aquí, ser como yo un vocero en este acto de valentía que quiero llevar este mensaje a cada uno de ustedes y darles la oportunidad también de decirle muchas gracias por organizarse y venirnos a apoyar. Empezamos de uno a uno, somos un grupo pequeño y ahora somos muchos para apoyarnos entre nosotros.
Washington is one of the highest food producing states in the nation, relies heavily on its growing immigrant population, where roughly 1 in 7 Washington residents is foreign born. Over half of the state farmers, fishers, and foresters are integral part of this economy.
Todo el esfuerzo de los trabajadores inmigrantes son muy cruciales para el desarrollo de la economía aquí en este país.
CERC pledges to continue to defend the right of the workers, people who are the backbone of the economy and producers' wealth, but nevertheless the message remains the same. The fight for workers' rights is still being fought. We fight for the right of workers for decent working conditions, to defend the collective armed and the right to organize and support unemployed unions.
Estamos aquí para apoyarnos como comunidad y para pelear por los derechos de los trabajadores, por los derechos de las personas que levantan la economía de este país, por los derechos de los inmigrantes. Peleemos todos juntos por nosotros.
CERC is working closely with the Pandemic and Racism Community Advisory Board, PARCA, to identify, inspire, and mobilize bold solutions in response to the urgent interconnected crisis of COVID-19 and systematic racism. Addressing systematic racism, healthcare access, and inequality in socio-economic status is fundamental important eliminating health disparities. Black, brown, Latino, and immigrants working in the country to fight back, because the ways the government chooses to fight the pandemic is having a terrible consequence of the working people as well as the small and medium-sized business.
Todos los pequeños negocios de personas de color, de los latinos y de muchos otros grupos étnicos han sido impactados por toda la pandemia y también no han podido dar todo el apoyo que han necesitado para poder sobrellevar sus negocios. Estamos aquí para pelear todos juntos y para decir que es el derecho de apoyar a todos los negocios por igual.
There is much to be done to achieve a national reawakening. The time is long overdue to implement a plan for restorative justice. Such a plan ought to include recognizing the sacrifice and contribution the communities have made for years, creating opportunities through investment, financial assistance for higher education, and debt forgiveness for student loan, and expand employment opportunities.
Hay mucho que se puede hacer todavía, por favor. Gracias por estar aquí el día de hoy, pero también únanse a todas las organizaciones, unan todas sus fuerzas para que nosotros podamos pelear por todos los beneficios que nos merecemos.
Dear fellow Washingtonians, I will quote Ellen Key. When the sense of solidarity has been developed to such a point that each one feels the course of all its own, and we shall be drawing near to the international and to social justice. In the spirit of that,
yo sé que como muchos saben está pasando la invasión de Rusia en Ucrania. Unámonos todos juntos también para mostrar que necesitamos justicia social tanto ahí como donde nosotros vivimos también.
I am aware of invasion of Russia to Ukraine. I condemn the flagrant aggressive attack of Russians. I wouldn't even dream, even remorse imagination to not sympathize to the people of Ukraine, nor wish any ill. What saddens me the most is the blatant racism in the Western media. You will be astonished to learn, compared to Ukraine, how much more shocking atrocity is in Tigray. There is nowhere on the earth where there is humanity of 7 million people of Tigrayn under a threat by the fascist regime of Eritrea and Ethiopia. The Western world, including the media, has conventionally denied the people limelight. obsession with Ukraine ignores the suffering of black, brown people in other parts of the world, as if African life doesn't matter.
Desde el oeste hasta el norte de Tigray ha estado bajo un regimiento ocupacional por medio de Ethiopia y de Eritrea, en sus gobiernos que ejercieron la fuerza brutal desde noviembre del 2020. Han habido millones de personas lastimadas, millones de personas sometidas y millones de personas que siguen sufriendo todos estos sometimientos militares por esos países.
The western and northern Tigray has been under brutal occupation by the Eritrean and Ethiopian government since November 2020. Over 63 Tigrayans fled to Sudan, and 2.1 million were internally displaced. It is reported by European researchers that a total of 500,000 Tagaro lives lost, 100,000 directly related to the war, 200 due to the starvation, and 150,000 due to preventable terrible illness of 50,000 unknown causes. Most of the dead due to lack of food and treatment were children. Because of communication blackout, most of Tagaro in Washington, Seattle do not know the status of their loved ones.
Millones de personas han sido desplazados de sus hogares. Muchas personas también el hambre ha sido la causa principal de su muerte. Los tienen en unas condiciones inhumanas y no pueden dejarlos de que estén con su familia todo el tiempo y no les proveen recursos.
Basic service, electric, banking, school, health service was systematically closed. Any means of production of the people Tigray developed over 30 years with the bare hands and sweat were torn down, and some uproot transported to neighboring regions in Eritrea. Grain storage was burned and their contents mixed with dirt. Farmer animals were slaughtered and implements destroyed.
Muchas personas en la comunidad de Tigre están sin comunicación, han sido masacrados tratando de comunicarse por ayuda. No les permiten el paso para que les lleven agua, ni comida, ni ayuda humanitaria. Hay muchas personas que siguen sufriendo y estamos aquí para solidarizarnos con ellos en este día.
Please share those lives safely with your family, friends, and colleagues, and encourage them to send to their USA House of Representatives and Senate to implore your support. HR 660 and Senate S3199. This bill imposes sanctions and address U.S. effort to support a peaceful, democratic Ethiopia and bring an end to the conflict in northern Ethiopia. Please encourage your colleagues to support this bill, expedite the process, pass the full House vote, and react to the solution to your Senator and Congress. And there are some QR that most of them are giving to our attendee.
Hay una propuesta para derechos humanitarios que es 6,600 que se está pasando ahorita en el Senado. Él pide y por sus plegarias y porque apoyen esta propuesta para que sea impuesta ayuda humanitaria para las personas que están sufriendo en estos países, que han sido sometidos por otros y que están en condiciones inhumanas.
Workers of the world unite!
Los trabajadores unidos somos fuerza.
Workers of the world unite! I can hear more.
Los trabajadores unidos somos fuerza.
Justice for Tigray!
Justicia para Tigre.
Justice for Tigray!
Justicia para Tigre.
Thank you so much.
Gracias por estar aquí.
Give it up for Better Cats. All right, y'all. How many of y'all enjoy cannabis out here? Oh, you don't want to admit it. That's okay, I do. And I want to uplift our cannabis workers. So we have some incredible speakers here from UFCW 3000 who've been organizing cannabis workers.
Ahora tenemos unos trabajadores de la industria de la marihuana. Son trabajadores sindicalizados de UFCW 3000, que es la unión más grande de esos trabajadores de marihuana.
We have with us Zion and James from UFCW 3000, which supports United Food and Commercial Workers. This is the state's largest labor union representing workers in industries like grocery, retail, healthcare, and cannabis. and they have charted as the seed to sell cannabis union, including workers across the entire pipeline from farms to stores. Today we have two leaders in our cannabis division, Zion and James, who will share a bit about themselves and why we're fighting to improve this billion-dollar industry.
Ahora tenemos a dos líderes de esta industria que son sindicalizados con UFC2W3000, que es un sindicato de trabajadores de autoservicio, de cuidado de salud y de marihuana. Estos trabajadores han organizado desde la semilla hasta donde se vende, incluyendo trabajadores de todo el país. Los líderes son Zion y James.